What up, Nerd Cantina? It's your host Steve again, and I'm here with another spoiler-free review for you guys. And this week, so far, I went and saw Midway. It is the story of the Battle of Midway shortly after Pearl Harbor that brought us into World War II. Typical war movie. From the hype of the previews, you get a little excited for it, but I'm here to tell you that it was a bit of a letdown. Big cast, not too many like big A-listers, but a lot of familiar faces. Almost every time they broke to another scene or went to another topic, it's like, oh wow, he's in this movie now too. Oh, he's in this movie. And then you kind of expect them to have kind of major roles, but a lot of them, they don't. So let me kind of just go down the list of actors and how they performed, because I do have a lot of critiques about that, so I can go into that without giving you away of the movie. So Patrick Wilson was really good in it. Woody Harrelson was okay. He was meh. Luke Evans was okay. Dennis Quaid was pretty good in it. Who else? Nick Jonas. Meh. Ed Skrein, who had the main lead role, was pretty bad. It was pretty hard to watch. And then his co-star Luke Kleintank was pretty meh. What really took away from the movie for me, there was a few points actually, but the really hard thing to sit throughout the entire movie was the horrible accents. I get it. I think the main actor is British. I don't know, but he has a different accent. He played the villain in the first Deadpool movie. He definitely has a unique accent. The worst American accent I think I've ever heard in a movie. Even the people that could speak regular English, like Nick Jonas's character, plays some kid from New York in the 40s, and they all want to talk like these wise guys, and it just be normal. Just be normal. Tell the story. It's a very important story in American history. There's no need to try to make it authentic with these really shitty 1940s American accents. The whole movie was shot in front of a green screen. They weren't really shooting for authenticity. I don't know why they felt they needed to go overboard with these horrible fucking accents, but it was so distracting from the material that it was almost unbearable. Another thing, the movie tried to do like too much. The movie opens like 3 or 4 years before Pearl Harbor, and I want to say maybe a year or two before World War II even really kind of kicks off. And then they kind of jump to Pearl Harbor, give you some Pearl Harbor battle scenes, go and then take you throughout the like steps of what happened after Pearl Harbor that led to the Battle of Midway. All in all, it just seemed like they were jumping from too much. Was it cool to have another battle scene of Pearl Harbor? Yeah, the battle scenes were pretty good. CGI was done pretty well in this movie. But did we essentially need it? I think having the high expectation of a war movie, they felt they needed to put a lot of war scenes in there. But we have movies about Pearl Harbor. Everyone knows about Pearl Harbor. We didn't really need to see the battle to let it sink in. So either they could have just cut that for time, because it was a long movie and they could have got to the Battle of Midway faster, or they could have cut it and gave us a little bit more to get into these characters. Although I don't know if you would have got into the characters any better, because like I said, accents were shit. I couldn't really get attached to any of these characters because it just felt so fake and drummed up that you don't really buy into the story. Another thing, I'm not a war expert, I'm not a historian, but so every time you see one of those white bullets, they're tracer bullets. So when you're in a way, you can track where you're shooting with the tracers. And I want to say that the tracer bullets for every like third bullet. So there's bullets in between those tracers also. The amount of tracer bullets in every battle scene leads me to believe that if you survived the battle, it had nothing to do with your skill as a pilot, and 100% was sheer luck. Now, I could be right in that assumption for all I know. Like I said, I'm not a historian, but they're either Japanese are descendants of stormtroopers, or if you made it through this battle, you pulled the golden horseshoe out of your ass because you were just the luckiest son of a bitch on the planet. That's not to say that they didn't tell you about the severe losses that we had at the Battle of Midway, how a bunch of pilots would go off and only a few of them would come back. But for the amount of bullets that they had in these scenes, it's very hard to believe that anyone would survive it. So I don't know if they overdid it for appearance sake, for the sake of the movie, or if that's just really how it was. And man, the pilots of World War II were just the luckiest sons of whoever made it through were just some of the luckiest sons of bitches that you ever seen. As far as like the actual ships and the battle scenes, it was all green screen. It was all done, but it didn't come off too fake. I mean, it's green screen, but green screen's so good nowadays that it didn't really distract me, not nearly as much as a shitty Bronx accent. The best part of the movie for me was the end. When the end comes, they actually show you pictures of the actual soldiers. I don't feel this falls into the spoiler. I think we all knew that at the end of a historical film, they were going to tell you what actually happened to these men and give you some of the real life stories of them. But for me, that was the best part. Nimitz, all these characters. You hear their names, and now you piece together, because you hear a lot of these generals and these people in the war had boats named after them, had naval bases named after them, have awards and military honors named after them. That's how important they were to winning the war, and how important the Battle of Midway was. And also, I think the best part is they feature a lot of the intelligence community and how they figured out to defend the ports and the airfields of Midway. Pearl Harbor is often looked at as one of the big American intelligence blunders, but they show how the intelligence community actually was pivotal into helping advance and keeping the Japanese on their side of the Pacific, because after the Battle of Pearl Harbor, our naval defenses were so depleted that if it wasn't for the Battle of Midway, they would have had a clear shot to California, and World War II would have been drastically different. So I really appreciate the highlight of the intelligence community in the film, and the 5 minutes of notes at the end of what happened to these men's lives. I'm sad to say, though, this isn't a movie you really need to rush to. Now, granted, the battle scenes are great on a big screen, but it's about a 2.5 hour movie, and I feel that you may be regretting your choice of seeing it in the theater, because you know what I mean. You only get a certain amount of time. You only go see a certain amount of movies a year. We definitely have, some good movies. I'm going to try to go see Dr. Sleep this weekend also. I haven't even seen Dr. Sleep yet, and I would say go see that one over this one already. It wasn't a bad movie. It had potential, and I feel that they just fell short, and falling short with such a historic and pivotal story. It's kind of sad, like I said, it's definitely not a Saving Private Ryan. It's definitely not, It didn't have the production level that really brought you in and emotionally tied you to these characters. Like I said, that Ed Skrein, for me, I'm not a big fan. There isn't a point where I look at his face and he doesn't come off as just sheerly arrogant. And he was playing a character that was supposed to be arrogant, and even then the arrogance level was just beyond what I could tolerate on a screen. I think he was the wrong choice to cast. I didn't mind him in Deadpool, but in this movie it didn't work for me. And even everybody else, you weren't getting your best performances out of some of these people. I love Woody. Was he bad in it? No, but did he give off the gravity that a naval admiral that went down in American history had? Not really. I don't know, guys. For me, I'd tell you to wait on this one. I think it's important to at least see it, maybe just to tie yourself to another part of American history that hasn't been told often. I don't know if there's been other stories of Battle of Midway that aren't in black and white or from the early 60s. Definitely in my lifetime, this is the first time I know of a movie that told the Battle of Midway. So I think it's an important for American culture to recognize this, and if this is the only way that you're going to be able to take that in, I suggest you watch it then. Other than that, nah, man, pass, hard pass. So with that said, let's do the usual: pound it, subscribe, like button, pound it, comments, write them, send them. Let us know what you think. We appreciate all our fans at the Nerd Cantina. Listen to the podcast, come to the YouTube channel, check out the website, everything, nerdcantina.com, nerdcantina.com/community. Join the Facebook group, drop the fire memes. If you've been watching reviews, you know the routine, folks. I'm not here to beg for you, but I'm kind of asking. I'm really close to begging for some subscribers. So do me a favor, if you enjoy it, share it with your friends, and come back for the next one. See you later, nerds.